Welcome to Online Notes for World History. All right, now I want you to you're going to need your notebook and you're going to need a sheet of paper. Now the notes, you're going to record them in your notebook, and usually you'll find them in yellow or bold black print. All right, sometimes I may use another color. If I do, I'll let you know. All right, on a second sheet of paper, all right, which you will turn in tomorrow, as in the next day, you will find the questions to go along with this, and I'll point them out as we work through it. All right, I want you to title on both sheets the Neolithic Revolution. Let's go. Now, the Neolithic Revolution is going to begin with the out of Africa experience. This is in East Africa. Man is going to, and this is many thousands of years ago. Some even say millions of years ago. But man is going to leave from this portion of Africa, and he's going to begin to expand out to different parts of the world. Okay, even over into the Americas. Now, as early man does this, all right, things for the most part remain the same. I mean, so thousands and thousands upon thousands of years, things stay the same. And then nomads make a discovery. All right, now get this definition for nomads. Nomads just mean they wander from place to place. Okay, so the old, what y'all call cavemen, we're not going to call nomads, have been wandering from place to place until they get this new idea. Okay, and it's going to take the shape of two forms. Write down the word domestication. Okay, that is, we're going to learn how to domesticate or tame animals and plants. So with animals, we're going, I mean, not every animal, of course, can be domesticated. In fact, only less than 15 have been in the world, but we are going to domesticate some animals, starting with the wolf. All right, and he will come down to the dogs that you are familiar with today. All right, and then we're also going to domesticate plants. All right, this is going to be a major change in the world, and I mean major. Things will never be the same after this. All right, the development of agriculture caused an increase in population and the development of new technologies. All right, so everything changes. All right, and then if you just think about it, you want to get everything that you see underlined here. Everything from this point becomes something new, and it takes man a little while. If you see here, about 8,000 BCE is when they really get started with this, and it's really about 5,000 years later that they kind of really figure it all out and put it all together.
At some point, people started growing their own food. Unable to maintain a mobile way of life, they would have stayed close to any source of water they could find and planted new fields of wheat and barley around them.
Rather than just following food sources around different locations, for the first time what people start to do is that they bring these resources back to them. Not just as harvested food, but they're bringing them in seeds, and they're growing them next to their village. And that's the first time, really, this is the first time we see this anywhere in the world.
Stone Age people of the Middle East were becoming farmers, the first farmers in the world. There are only a few parts of the ancient world that developed farming independently. Not long after the Middle East came China, where people grew another high-yield cereal grass, rice. Pockets of farming also emerged in the Americas, based on corn, squash, and beans. Later in Africa, people farmed sorghum, millet, and yams. And in most places where farming emerged, a relatively large advanced civilization followed.
Okay, now I got a few questions that I want you to answer. I want you to look at these two charts carefully. You're comparing this chart to this chart. Okay, one measures temperature, the other population. All right, and you want to see how these two are related. All right, and as you work through this comparison, answer these few questions I have here on that separate sheet of paper. Okay, and you're going to turn that in tomorrow. All right, so questions 1 through 4. Now, the Neolithic Revolution, kind of recapping here. Like I said, it begins with the nomadic hunters and gatherers, all right? The nomads who just wandered around from place to place. And again, look at this, almost 2 million years ago, okay? So this is long ago. So from 2 million BCE all the way up to 8,000 BC, things remain the same. All right? And then we get to this whole point of what we call the Neolithic Revolution. And this is where things begin to change. All right. This is where man begins to figure some things out. And by the time we get to about 3000 BCE, that's when all of it begins to come together. We get these food surpluses, which leads to population increases. All right. And once we get this huge population, now you're ready for something a little bit different than the way we used to live. Something called civilization. Okay, and this was a game changer. Okay, now civilization. When we talk about civilization, we're talking about basically 5 key things that you need to understand. All right, every civilization, great civilization, had these 5 key things. All right. 1, large cities. Okay, immense cities. Say a place where everybody came. I mean, everybody. Okay, poor people, rich people, everyone from wide, different, diverse backgrounds. They're all going to congregate right here in this place called the city. All right. Then once they're in the city, everybody doesn't need to farm. So we began to develop something called specialized workers. Some people are going to be in the army. Some people are going to be blacksmiths. Some people are going to be, firemen, policemen. Boom. All right. And then we get complex institutions. Okay. Now, complex institutions, we're talking really about the church. Okay, religion. Okay, so religion and the development of government. So anytime we talk about complex institutions, we're talking about religion and government. All right, and along with all of this, something evolves that is going to be another game changer: record keeping. Out of record keeping, the need to just keep up with who we're trading with, how much did we trade with them. This new art form, this new science develops called writing. And writing is going to be immensely important to the development of man. Okay, and again, with specialized workers, you got to develop, each specialized worker is going to develop his own advanced technology. That is, we're going to make better and better weapons, because as we develop weapons, our enemies are developing weapons, and so we have to develop new weapons, and this back and forth is going to keep pushing man and encouraging his development. All right, now farming. We use early on a style of farming called slash and burn farming. Okay, now when you combine slash and burn farming with the taming of animals, all right, that is, all it means is when we tame them, we begin to put up fences. Now we can put a fence and they would stay there. Now we got a constant source of food. Okay, I mean, all the ribs you can eat. You know what I'm saying? Now look at this. All right. So now that man doesn't have to go find his food. Nobody's starving. We got food right here, ready to be made. It changes man. All right. Leads to expansion of trade, development of specialized workers. Now this is really important. As people began to live in the city, social classes began to develop. That is, some people are higher up than others. Because as we, form these governments, somebody has to tell the other people who's going to go dig that ditch. So somebody has to take the job of telling the people to dig the ditch. Somebody has to take the job of making the people dig the ditch, and somebody has to take the job of digging the ditch. All right, I want you to read this last little piece here and then answer these 2 questions that I have for you. And no, you do not have to write the question, just answer the questions in complete sentences. Okay, and that's going to conclude our notes on the Neolithic Revolution. And the rest of this week, we'll be focusing on the development of the River Valley civilizations, in particular to Egypt and Mesopotamia. Okay, so there are 4 that we're going to look at, but these 2 are what we're going to start with first. All right, and just to set you up, River Valley civilization just means the land along a major river. All right, bring your notes with you, and I will see you tomorrow.